You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today on our first host call of the weekend, we're going to be getting right into your questions. So, like I said last week, we're picking back up where we left off. We've got about, I think, 5 or 6 questions today, another 5 or 6 questions tomorrow. Some really great ones on women's health, on children's health. We've got a bunch on nutrition, a few on supplementation, a few on antibiotics. So yeah, let's get started. Let's get right into it. So the first question today is from Brittany. She's asking, "Hi, Dr. Cabral, I'm getting ready to start your 7-day Dr. Cabral Detox, and I was wondering, do the limited calories on days 1 and 2 of the detox still allow for autophagy? I've read that you have to eliminate calories entirely for a period of time for autophagy to engage. Is this true? I'm just wondering if this detox can also serve as an intermittent fast, or if I need to incorporate a water-only fast separately from the detox at a later date for maximum health results long term. Many thanks, Brittany." All right, Brittany, really great question, really smart question. Your body does not and cannot have any food necessarily being digested in order to be engaged in autophagy. But again, that's already built into the Dr. Cabral Detox. The Dr. Cabral Detox allows for 12 plus hours a day with no food every single day. So you're going from 7 at night to 7 in the morning, 7 at night to 8 in the morning, somewhere around there. And what that's allowing for is complete autophagy to take place in the body. Now, for everyone who doesn't know what autophagy means and is just maybe new to the Cabral concept, autophagy is when your body literally goes in, it scavenges pathogens, it scavenges cancer cells, any type of debris that really shouldn't be in the body, excess proteins, fibrin formations, all of that. It is one of the healthiest things that you can do for your body for anti-aging longevity. You've heard me talk about before, how long should you fast for? Should you skip breakfast or not? If not, please go back, listen to the previous Cabral concept episodes. You're going to get all that information for absolutely no cost at all. It's all free and it's right on the Cabral concept. Just go to stephencabral.com/podcast. Now, to answer your question though, the shake is specifically developed to be micronized, which means that it's going to be in your gut, literally in 30 minutes out of your stomach. And that's going to allow then for your body to quickly process it, remove it, get right back into what we'll call autophagy. And the reason is this, it's very simple, that we need to give the body certain nutrients to allow for proper detoxification to take place. So if you're on a longer fast, I mean, like if you just do a 24-hour intermittent fast once a week or every couple weeks, and it goes from, let's just say Sunday night after dinner to Monday night at dinner time, great, no problem at all. But if you start to do more than 2 days of an actual fast, you need liver support. Don't let anyone kid you otherwise. You absolutely do. This is one of the paramount points of functional medicine, orthomolecular medicine, is that your liver needs B vitamins, it needs glutathione, N-acetylcysteine, selenium, all the precursors to, of course, glutathione. It needs sulfur-based amino acids, it needs vitamin C, it needs vitamin E, it needs all the cofactors that go along with that as well, like calcium, magnesium, and zinc. So if you're not getting those, you are literally, I would say, releasing, this is fact, you are releasing toxins from stored adipose tissue, which are your fat cells, into your bloodstream. So now it's been released. Before it was caged, it was boxed away. Now you're doing a good thing for your body. You're eliminating it, but it's now in your bloodstream. Your liver is your filter for your body's blood. It filters all of the blood in your body every 6 minutes. If it does not have adequate nutrients, which everyone thinks that, your liver just automatically does it no matter what. That's not true at all. It's absolutely not true at all. Your body will not be able to eliminate the toxins fast enough, so they will still remain in your bloodstream. What will happen then? Well, they might be reabsorbed, put back into the adipose tissue, the fat cells. They may actually start to damage the body and create more free radicals. They might cause a Herxheimer reaction where you feel a headache, inflammation. You might get skin rashes. You might get any of these things if your body's not getting those proper nutrients, which is why you can't pretend that a fruit juice cleanse or any of these things is what's best for your body. It's not. Believe me, I've been through all all this. I learned the hard way. I know it works. And we do what's called the Dr. Cabral Detox. It's very simple. It's for 7, 14, or 21 days. Everything is spelled out. It even shows you what we do right on the website because our goal is education first. Now, of course, you can use someone else's functional medicine detox. That's okay as well. What we're doing is we're just trying to provide you with the best quality nutritional supplements to take care of your body. So really great question overall. And what I would say is this: if you want the longer fast, you can absolutely do that, but just make sure that your longer fast might be once a week where you're just going 24 hours. That's totally fine, totally acceptable, as long as there's no adrenal-based issues or thyroid-based issues. Again, everything's been specifically designed on the Dr. Cabral Detox to take care of autophagy, to work specifically with it, which is why people can heal so quickly on it, specifically within the 21 days. But again, if there's any other questions, just let me know. All right, so Randa is up next, or Randa. Hello, was wondering if you thought New Chapter vitamins are good quality in your opinion. Also, could you tell me what macro breakdown you suggest to someone who wants to maintain their weight, and what macro breakdown, if different, for someone who has 20 pounds to lose? Thanks. Love your podcast. Okay. So New Chapter is actually a fantastic company, really good nutritional supplement company. They've been around a long time, like the brand, like the company, and they've got great products. Like their Inflamed is a nice one to decrease inflammation. We'll try to link that up in the show notes if we can. But I don't like their multivitamins. Here's why. I'm not a huge advocate of food-based multivitamins, and I want to tell you why. So I love food as the nutrient, and why would I like something like their Inflamed product, or their Zyflamed, I believe it's called? It's because it contains ginger, it contains turmeric, and it contains other herbs, which we know work, and they're anti-inflammatory. However, for a food-based vitamin, let's stop pretending just for a minute. Like, again, believe me, no one's more of an idealist than me. No one wants to just do this through food only. It just doesn't work that way. And the reason is this: we live in a synthetic world. We live in a world with over 100,000 man-made chemicals. You walk outside, you're exposed to car fumes and exhaust. You eat food, it's been sprayed with something, even organic foods. So again, let's not fool ourselves into believing that we live in this pure environment, which I wish we did. But when you take a food-based vitamin, first of all, it's going to be far lower potency. Compare their food-based multi versus a functional medicine-based multi. Again, you can look at ours, the activated multi, or you can look at our daily nutritional support powder, or you can look at pure encapsulations, integrative therapeutics, Thorn. You can look at any ones if you'd like. You'll see that it's much lower in terms of potency. Now, a food-based vitamin will then come back and say, and again, I'm totally unbiased. I'll just use the best of whatever. That's it. But a food-based vitamin is not even really coming from food. It's coming from yeast most of the time. That's the secret that no one wants to let you know about these food-based multi. Again, food-based vitamins I use all the time in my practice, all the time. Ginger, turmeric, all those things, absolutely. But a multivitamin comes from yeast for the most part. Is yeast a food? That's debatable. That's debatable. I'm not sitting down, and you're not sitting down to a bowl of yeast. No one is. And it's debatable whether it's great for your health or not. Certainly not great for the digestive issues that I work with a lot of people in my practice. There's no way I'd be using that with Crohn's, colitis, IBS, SIBO, Candida. Absolutely not. And since a lot of people have a touch of that since they've used antibiotics at least once in their life, they've taken Advil once before in their life, they've used maybe birth control, they've drank alcohol, they've had some stress in their life, I'm just not recommending it. So that's basically my bottom line. New Chapter, great company, but it's not just them. I'm not an advocate or a fan of food-based vitamins, at least how they are right now, because for the most part, they're coming from fermented yeast. Okay. I am off that tangent and on to the next. Michelle is up next. Michelle L, actually, because we have two Michelles in a row today. So Michelle L writes in, I'm not going to read the whole question because for someone who reads a lot of books, when I have to read out loud, it's quite slow. She just writes in, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. Hope you're well. I love the podcast. I had a few questions. What are your thoughts about strep throat and using antibiotics to treat it?" And then she goes on, next question. "Is there anything you can do to protect your child from serious effect like the one that happened to her friend's child?" So her friend's child got very sick from taking antibiotics, had to go to the hospital. Number 3, the reason I ask is that my daughter is suspected to be allergic to penicillin. She got a red bumpy rash, started taking amoxicillin, got a fever. So a lot of issues going on specifically and related to antibiotics. So you can read Michelle's whole question by just going to the show notes page. Again, I put them all up there. Just go to stephencabral.com/4 414 for today's podcast. And Michelle, what I want to do is I want to give you my philosophy, exactly what I am doing. And it's not come without a lot of research and a lot of debate. Remember, I've gone through all this myself. So my story is essentially from the age of 14 to 17, I took over 3,000 capsules of amoxicillin for minor acne. Again, I was a teenager, got some acne, eating poorly, all the things of why you get acne, that and, hormone levels are boosting. So my dermatologist thought it'd be a great idea to put me on amoxicillin, just like a lot of dermatologists did and still think about doing to this day. The issue is it wiped out all of my good gut bacteria, so it left me susceptible to serious immune-based issues, and my health, it didn't plummet, it just literally dropped off a cliff, and I was no longer the same person after I woke up that one fall day when I was 17 years old. So believe me, I know quite a bit about antibiotics and have studied them in depth. Do I use them for my children? And do I use them for myself? Do I use them for my wife? Do I use them for anyone that I care for and that I speak to? And the answer is no. And here's why. Unless it's a life-saving situation, which is when you should use antibiotics. If you do have a staph infection, if you do have something that could literally take your life if you didn't get antibiotics, then you should take them. Let's be smart. Let's use the best of all forms of medicine. Conventional medicine is not all bad. They are the best when it comes to acute-based care. If you have a heart attack, if you're having a heart attack, a stroke, if you broke your arm, if you have a staph infection, if you have bilateral blackout pneumonia, and you are a young child or an elderly person, you should seek acute medical care. You should go to the emergency room. That is when you should use antibiotics. For everything else, I say no. And the reason is those antibiotics cause more harm than I believe good. And if I can treat it naturally, which I can if it's not life-saving, then there's no need for me to use antibiotics. So am I leaving the possibility open that one day my girls, my two young girls, 2 and 4+ years old, will need antibiotics? Maybe they will. I hope that they never will. I hope that they won't. I really do. But right now they haven't, and I'm going to do my best to keep it that way. But please do keep in mind that you can't just do nothing. When my girls start to get run down, I can see them getting sick, I immediately start to use the same protocol that you can as well. It's called the Children's Immune Protocol. It's right at stephencabral.com/store, and that's exactly what I do. If it progresses and it's not getting better within 3 days, I add another product called, I can't remember right now, I believe it's called Zambacol Immune. It's another syrup that you just add, and that contains zinc, extra vitamin C, and elderberry. But usually I don't even need that. I just use the Children's Immune Protocol that you'll see right at our store. So you can do the same one I do for my kids. We do it before getting on an airplane. We do that if they're getting sick from colds at school. All those things. And so again, and for the adult one's on there as well. We'll try to link it up on the show notes page. But the truth is that you do need to do something. It's just natural medicine works just as well if you know what you're doing. And so that's exactly what we do. We hope that that helps you as well. So one more. So if myself or anyone in my practice, which, happens, and they come to me and they said, oh, I just took a course of antibiotics, whatever it might be, and I haven't seen them before, so they didn't know that they could treat this naturally, then what we do is we put them on what's called the gut rebuilding protocol. And again, you can find that at a store. We just try to give you exactly what we do in our practice, which is it's the Clean Gut Probiotic. So if you take an antibiotic, you should be taking the Clean Gut Probiotic at the same time. It contains Saccharomyces boulardii plus proven strains of good probiotics to help rebuild the gut. You'll just take them away from your antibiotic about 6 hours apart. And then, of course, you will continue taking them for at least 30 days after the antibiotic. And you will take the product called the Healthy Gut Support, which, again, is just in our gut rebuilding protocol that gives you the glutamine, the zinc to help seal back up that gut wall. Hopefully that helps. And of course, if there's any questions, please do let me know. Okay, Michelle with 2 L's. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thanks for a great podcast. What are your thoughts about hand sanitizers? Do you think it's better to use them than eat with dirty hands if there's no place to wash your hands? Or are you better off allowing some germs to be there? I know someone who never asks her kids to wash. They don't even wash after going to the bathroom, and the kids are incredibly healthy and never seem to get sick. I do believe in hand washing before eating and definitely after using the bathroom. That to me is basic hygiene, but I'm guilty of having my kids overwashing. I also asked my child to wash when they get home from school. She was a preemie, which made me hypervigilant about her health. I wanted to get to a new normal state, but don't know what the right balance is. Okay, hi, Michelle. So this is, great question. Absolutely great question, and I'm happy to answer that. So we pretty much practice the same exact thing that you're doing as well. We have our children wash their hands with soap and hot water after using the bathroom, and we also have them wash when possible before eating. But if we're out, it's not always possible, and so they do not wash their hands before eating, but they always will when they are at a bathroom and they just finished using the bathroom. I find it actually repulsive how many men I see in a public bathroom who, after walking out of a stall or just even obviously urinating too, they do not wash their hands. It's unbelievable. They just literally walk right out of the bathroom. And so the reason why I call this repulsive is that think of all the people that you come in contact with that you might shake hands with, that you might touch the same door handle as, the same whatever. So that I just can't agree with, because the bacteria that's in public restrooms and the bacteria from your own feces or bowel movements is not something that we want to spread. And that's not a good thing. Now, again, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but if you are having a bowel movement and you're wiping yourself, you need to wash your hands. Bottom line, you absolutely do. So that is basic hygiene, just like you said. However, we do have way too much over sanitation. I know parents that keep an alcohol pump beside their baby changing station and with them at all times, and they're using Purell and different types of hand sanitizers at all times. What's happening is you're actually disturbing, most people don't know this because no one teaches this, is that you have trillions of bacteria on your skin. Billions for every square inch. That means that when you wipe them out, you're doing the same thing as internally within your gut. You need to balance the delicate flora inside your body and on the outside. I found this out after dealing with folliculitis, which is like an infection of the follicles on your skin for many years. I was using antibacterial soap in the showers, using Dial. That is not recommended. You should not be using antibacterial soap on your body. If you are going into surgery, please do feel free to use antibacterial soap. We would all appreciate that. But for you on a daily basis, you should not be using antibacterial soap. It's just, that's not the case at all. You don't need it. Now, in certain situations, yes. I mean, believe me, someone's going to come back and say, well, when you're doing this, this, and this, yes, of course. There's always certain situations. But children should not be using alcohol or hand sanitizer on their hands at all times. I allow my kids and actually recommend it that they're playing in dirt, that they're playing outside. So I'm going to make it really simple. If they're playing in dirt, they're playing in nature, I don't really mind that getting on their hands. I like that exposure to different microbes and bacteria in the soil. However, if they're playing with toys, or they're coming back from school, or if it's before eating and they've been touching all sorts of different things, like let's just say our kids on an airplane, we want them to try to wash their hands after being on the plane. So yes, all of those things, absolutely, but let's not be over vigilant. And there is no way I can give you a contraindication for every single time. It's just, I highly don't recommend that you wash your hands all the time. There's just absolutely no need for it. It dries out your skin. It leads to cracks. Those cracks in your skin then allow pathogens to actually get in through the little cuts, especially in the wintertime. So what I recommend is very simply, you can not wash your hands at all, keep them out of your eyes, keep them out of your nose, keep them out of your mouth, eat with utensils, ideally. And if it's your kids, wash before eating. Besides that, they're pretty much good to go. Okay, next question is by Natalie. Natalie is writing in, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I love your podcast. Thanks so much for all the info you share. I'm wondering what form of female contraception you recommend to your patients. My research has led me to believe that the most natural disruptive form is a copper IUD. What do you think? Have you come across any adverse effects to a copper IUD? Thank you, Nat." Okay, so yes, and the majority of my practice are women. It's probably 80% women in my practice, and we deal with all sorts of different female hormone imbalances. And it's too bad, but it's such a major pervasive-based health issue in especially in the United States, but really all over the world. And the reason is because of stress, because of cortisol, because of PCBs, because of plasticizers in the environment that are leading to increased estrogen and a decrease essentially in progesterone, or normalized progesterone sometimes, and what looks like a estrogen dominance because of all these hormone disruptions. So I get asked this question quite a bit, Natalie. The safest, the most effective, and the least intrusive one to females' hormones and their body in general is condoms. And here's why. Condoms, to my knowledge, is also the only way to prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Now, I might be wrong, but I believe it's the only form of contraception to do that. But also, here's the thing. Everything else you put into your body, whether it's a hormone-based IUD or whether it's taking birth control or whether it's patches, any of those things, they actually can disrupt hormones. But now here's where I'm going to just make one little caveat. You are correct. A copper IUD could be a safe and effective method for many women. Not all, though. And here's what I'm going to tell you, what I see in my practice. A lot of women, no issues at all. Some women, autoimmune-based issues because of it, digestive-based issues because of it, skin, like real acne because of it as well, depression, anxiety, mood swings. I'm going to tell you why in one moment. Breast tenderness, as well as at least 20% of women who use a copper-based IUD also get ongoing yeast infections, candida-based infections. Okay, why would this be? Here's why. The same reason that it's effective is the same reason why it can cause these issues. Now, copper IUD does not actually change the menstrual cycle and does not actually change the hormones in a female's body, which is great. That's the part of it that I do like. Really do like that because I do not like changing progesterone and estrogen levels in women's bodies. Okay. A copper IUD, though, can create heavier menstrual cycles, heavier periods. That can lead to anemia in women, which means a loss of iron as well as B vitamins, other things like that as well. So you have to be careful of that. And also, because you are putting a metal into your body, you can have different reactions to that. And that can then cause a lot of the repercussions that I last spoke about. Sometimes I've worked with some women. Now they should be able to get rid of the yeast infection. They should be able to get rid of the candida, should be able to get rid of the acne or the digestive issues, but it never happened until they removed the copper IUD. And then it went away about 12 weeks later, 8 to 12 weeks later, gradual reduction of that. So I just want to let you know that what could possibly happen. But again, the pluses are a non-hormonal copper IUD does not change your hormones specifically. It's not meant to do that. And it acts as a natural spermicide. So, because it increases white blood cells to the area, all sorts of different things that I'm not going to get into right now. So if you don't want to just, stick to condoms alone or female contraception, I understand that. I totally understand that. And a copper IUD then may be your best bet. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. But just please keep in mind, I did give you the downsides, and there are downsides to it as well. All right, Mary Ellen is our last question of the day. She writes in, "Hi, Stephen. I listen to all your podcasts, and thank you. You share such useful information with all of us. I have a constant problem with headaches since I got my wisdom teeth out when I was 17, 18 years old. I have been told there's nothing to do with it. It's just a coincidence. I've tried an awful lot of things, spent an awful lot of money. I'm going to skip down a little bit because it's a long question, but again, everyone can read this question on their own. She's been fitted for different devices to help her keep her teeth in alignment. She's done acupuncture. She's done yoga. She has pulsating inside of the mouth and face when she wakes up. She has celiacs, but she's eliminated gluten and dairy in her diet. The pain lasts for days, sometimes weeks. Generally, always in pain. We're talking about like tension basically in the head, almost like a migraine. Can't tolerate light. Do get extremely irritable. So we're talking about someone right now where it's very clear they have some ear, nose, and throat issues. They have something going on within either the sinus-based cavity or the mouth. And it came on directly after their wisdom teeth got removed. So I'm giving you a little insight into how I look into things in my practice. Now, this person wrote maybe about 500 words or so. I spent about a half hour going through people's stories. For Mary Ellen, what I would do is I would keep teasing things out, but I'm not sure that I have to. I look for, in my practice, what would lead up to getting sick? Like for me, it was all those antibiotics. It was the high stress. It was trying to be a perfectionist, trying to get good grades, all of those things, get into a good school. But then it was also like leave my family and friends and all that, moving out of state. Like it's just kind of this perfect storm. But it was the antibiotics that was the getting to where I was, the stress, and then I got Epstein-Barr virus, which then led to Addison's disease and all sorts of immune-based dysfunction. So Mary Ellen kind of in tough shape, but then she got her wisdom teeth taken out. That looks like the triggering event to me. She has been sick since she got her wisdom teeth removed. I don't think that's a coincidence, and I know that deep down, Mary Ellen, you don't believe it is either. There's something wrong inside of either the sinus-based cavity or inside of the mouth, most likely. You need to find a good good functional medicine doctor, or you need to find a good biological dentist that can actually look inside of the mouth, look for puffiness, look for swelling, look for an infection that's actually under the gums. Because remember, that gum line is healed and sealed back up. Look for an infection down inside the bone or inside underneath the gums, or look for an infection somewhere around the sinus cavity as well. You're getting tension and pressure inside of your head. So you need to work with someone, and I know that you've worked with a lot of people, and I'm really upset that you haven't been able to get the answers that you need, but you need to figure out if this is an infection or not. You need to run your blood work. You need to look at your white blood cells. You need to look at C-reactive protein. If a doctor has not run your CRP yet, please have them do that. They can run your homocysteine levels as well. White blood cells, CRP, homocysteine. Look for inflammation. Look for a trigger. Look for some type of infection inside of your body. Look at your red blood cell count. Look at your hematocrit. Look at all those different markers inside of your body. And then also, in the meantime, please, my advice is this. Start on our ear, nose, and throat protocol. We're just putting it up this week. You don't have to buy it from us. It doesn't matter to me. That's not why I put it up there. What I do is I put these things up on my store to make sure you get the products that I recommend in my own practice. Now, when you purchase them from us, you do get my specific recommendations. That's the difference, obviously, from purchasing it elsewhere. But what I'm recommending right now is this. Use the nasal spray that we recommend by Nutribiotic. It has grapefruit seed extract. That will kill pathogens inside the sinus cavity in the nose. Use the zinc spray to spray it inside of your mouth, on your gums, in the back of your throat. That's going to boost your immune system, help kill pathogens as well because it contains grapefruit seed extract. Use a neti pot each morning when you get in the shower. Use that with a little bit of saline as well. And then also oil pulling, 10 minutes per day. Look back into StephenCabral.com/podcast. Look for my previous shows on how to do oil pulling. It's simple. All you have to do, if you don't want to look back, put about a tablespoon of coconut oil or a tablespoon of sesame oil, swish it around in your mouth for about 10 minutes. Try to do that twice a day. That will help to pull out bacteria if there is some there. Try this for 3 weeks. Right back in. Let me know if that helped at all. I would love to hear a success story just from this little bit while you're working on those underlying infections that might be there. So thank you everyone for tuning into the Cabral Concept. Always happy to have you here and really do love answering your questions. So maybe for the first time in your life, you're getting the answers that I believe you rightly deserve, the answers that I wish I had when I was a teenager and into my early 20s, desperately seeking this type of information. So thank you once again. And as always, if any of this information could help others, please do feel free to pass it along. Take care. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at StephenCabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.